commitment to our special population, special ed students here, and we wanted to include the parents of the special population as well, because sometimes we get forgotten, correct? So we just want to let you know that you are not alone and you are not forgotten. So, are we live now? Oh, thank you, Crystal, for the update. So I would like to bring up our lovely teacher of the month, our special ed teacher legendary, Miss Me. Good morning, guys. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate that warm welcome. I'm so excited to be here, not just for us in general, but to bring awareness to the special ed department. Because special education teachers often, and not just the teachers, but the students are often looked over in some areas. But we here at Westside love, care about, and support not just our students, but their families as well. And I have a couple of parents here that can attest to that. And so we wanted, originally, I started this to be very small. It was really just for my parents, just to help them get some support, because some of our students are aging out, some are graduating, so they are transitioning into life after Westside. And so because of that, some parents were a little nervous, apprehensive about them getting involved in life, per se. And so, although we're doing so many different things in the classroom to help the adjustment and the transition, we still want them to feel comfortable and confident as they make that transition. And so because of that, that was one of the reasons I believe that the Lord put it on my heart to expand it so that other parents in the other self-contained classrooms would be able to have those resources and support as well as we transition. So the support is necessary, is needed, is welcome, and is available. So without further ado, I'm going to invite one of our parents that have been here. I'll be here, it'll be my third year next month. I'm excited about what we're doing with them, but I'm also excited about the parents and their involvement. And one of the parents that is totally involved and supports not just her daughter, but the daughters and the sons of other parents. And so, could you please come up and welcome Miss Davis. Thank you so much.
Good morning. My name is Kiana Davis, and I am the mother of Amelia Davis. This is her 6th year here at Gary Westside. Our story is, it's very unique, just like all parents, especially needs children, right? Amelia was born at 24 weeks gestation. 42 would be a real problem. But at 24 weeks gestation and born at 1 pound and 5 ounces with her twin sister, Lauren. She spent the first 13 months of her life in the hospital, just really trying to just make it, right? She came home on a ventilator and required specialized care, past just first steps and Head Start and all that, but really needing the support of doctors and nurses and medical staff and team just to make sure she was stable and able to not only live but to thrive. And so as her parents, we stepped in, and I'm not her biological mother, I'm her stepmother. I met her when she was 3 years old, and I knew she liked me because she wet me. She peed on me. I said, "Oh, you love me though." Felt very comfortable from the beginning, and so the story of her, the beginning of her life, I heard secondhand, and so ultimately went on to marry my husband. Her father was Sean Davis, and that was in 2012. In 2015, she came to live with us full time. Well, here I am. I know her medical information secondhand. Everywhere I take her, people are asking, "Who are you?" And I'm saying, well, I'm her mama, but not her mama. I'm her daily caretaker. and not having the authority or the representation to be able to care for her needs. Not only did that take place in the medical facilities, but also in the educational realm as well. So I'm trying to enroll her in school, and they're saying, well, who are you? What's your relationship? And it surpassed just not being a biological standpoint, right? But just being able to tell her story, and people were saying, well, how old is she mentally? And saying, well, the doctors can't figure that out because she's nonverbal. She's quadriplegic, she has microcephaly, she's incontinent, she has a G-tube, she has a trach, We touch most of the specialized medical needs that these students can have, right? Well, at the same time, I was also pregnant with my son, who we found out before he was born at 24 weeks gestation for him that he had Down syndrome. They found out because he had a hole in his heart, and we went to the doctors. We were at the University of Chicago, and we were at our local high-risk OB-GYN and all that. And they were saying, oh, this is simple, as long as he can be born, he'll be fine. It'll just be an open heart surgery, and we can just patch that hole up and everything will be just fine. Well, that wasn't God's plan. And I don't mean to offend anybody by saying God, but I'm a woman of faith, and I just have to tell you my story. And so he was in the hospital for the majority of his life, had more than 45 procedures, had more than 17 doctors, and so we learned pretty quickly how to navigate the medical system, but also had to, for Miss Amelia, who is now 10 years old, navigate the educational system because she's just come to live with us. And so working with the school administration to figure out where she belongs. We live in a funny place that has a Maryville address, but we live in Gary, and so she started in Maryville schools. It was much easier that way because they had the NYSEC program where all of their low-functioning special needs students went. And so they were readily available to navigate and to try to meet her needs. Because of our address, we were told, you're not in Maryville, you can't go to Maryville schools. We came to Gary. Oh, the trepidation, the angst, the fear that I had about Gary Community School System, not because of any experience I had, but because of the rumors that were going on at the time. Because this was a failing school at the time, it was being taken over by the state of Indiana, and the kids were suffering. And then when the first time that I came, we went to the pod, which was over what is now in the administration building. The lights were out. There was, the ceiling panels were obviously wet. Water was dripping to the floor. There were these bins collecting water. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm giving my daughter to a third world country. But that was just temporary. What lasted far, what surpassed that much more was making sure that she had the care that she needed in order to be successful, not just to live, but yet again to thrive. That meant working with teachers, that meant working with doctors, but it also meant admitting that I can't do it by myself. I need help. And so the real reason that she had me here, and she didn't state the specific reason, but was because we were able to get Amelia on the aged and disabled waiver, which allowed her to get not only the Medicaid that she needed, but also it got us in-home health care. Okay, and that is a tremendous deal because her nurse follows her to and fro everywhere that she goes between the hours of 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. So if we have doctor's appointments, if she comes to school with Amelia every day, we have been blessed to have great nurses who come with us. They appear to be non-judgmental nurses because it's very difficult having a stranger in your house every day. They're not family. You can't say that you're friends unless you cultivate that relationship. But it's a difficult task to have somebody in your house when maybe you're sick back up the night before, or maybe you didn't get a chance to clean up after dinner, or maybe right now we're dealing with ants. I can't stand them. But I say all that to say that there are resources available. The thing that keeps me going while I come in every day and I talk to people, I talk to parents, I talk to teachers, to make sure that they see both sides of the coin. Because as caretakers, the statistics say that we are 70% of us die before the patients that we're taking care of. That can be kids. If you're like me, you're sandwich generation, so that might be parents. It might be a husband or a wife. Because you take on not only the things that you have to do daily, which may be work, housekeeping, outside of the house, if you have a place of religion, doing things for that, any hobbies that you have, but then also you have to take care of your child's needs because they cannot always do it for themselves. And so I say that to say, and I don't know how much time you gave me, I'm gonna cut it short, but I say all that to say that there are resources available. And that's why I'm so happy that Ms. Mead and Ms. Jackson put this together, because they brought some resources together to show you and to tell you, hey, there is help available. All you have to do is say, I need help. But if we're honest, how many of us like saying we need help? Then you are a rare breed, because there are very few people in this world who say that I need help. We take it on as a task, as an accomplishment, oftentimes as a badge of honor. And I would be remiss and lying if I said that I enjoy asking for help. I do not. But when you're the parent of a special needs child, it's important to be honest about who you are, what your abilities are, in the space that you need to be who you are by yourself. Before I was ever my husband's wife, before I was ever my children's mother, before I accepted Christ into my life, before all of that, I was Kiana. And I'm uniquely made with needs. I am uniquely made with desires that God has ordained, He has put in me that I need to fulfill. And in order to do that, I need help and I need space. So in addition to the opportunities that are afforded by having in-home health care, in addition to the blessing that Gary Community Schools has been in my daughter's life, you know, that first day I was a little scared, but since then the school has been a blessing. We've had our ups, we've had our downs, we've had our merry-go-rounds. But day by day, Amelia still comes and she still grows. And so it's important to find those resources that allow you to be who you need to be, so that not only does your child thrive, but you also thrive. And there are tons of resources out there. I'm so happy to see a lot of my friends here, because we are people who work together day by day, who try to make life better for children like my Amelia. Thank you so much for your time. Have a great day.
Thank you so much for that, Ms. Davis. That was a great story. Great story. Okay, so I wanted to say a little bit more about myself and my FACE team. So basically, FACE, like I said, is abbreviation for Family and Community Engagement. So our supervisor is Tanil Millsap Foster, and also we have our Chief of Communications, Chelsea Witt. And basically what we do is help parents. We are a parent advocate. So I don't know if any of the parents in the room knew that you had an advocate in the building for you. Nobody knew that? Okay, so now you know. So when you have any issues or you need some kind of understanding and you just feel like maybe, I know Ms. Mead is awesome in that of communication, but maybe one day Ms. Mead is not available. Where's Ms. Jackson? I need some help. If I don't know the answer, I'm going to find an answer, okay? But also what FACE does is help parents as far as make sure you get registration. You may need uniforms. We also have a room available if you, like say your cable go out, you know, things happen. We have resources in the room. We have computers for you to use, or you just need a space to vent. You just need a quiet spot. That's what the FACE Parent Room is for, okay? Also with Tanil Millsap, the supervisor of FACE, she does McKinney-Vento. So if you know of any other parent that you communicate or yourself may be unhoused or have foster children, you need some kind of assistance to make sure that your children's education is not interrupted during that time, you will come to me or to any of the FACE liaisons in our community schools, in our Gary community schools, okay? So I just wanted to put that out there. And I would like to introduce the next speaker of, do we have our speaker of trade winds here, Ms. Walker? She's not here? Okay, so that's fine. But we do have, our representative, Brittany with Paladin.
Jenna.
Oh, Jenna, hi. I'm sorry, I didn't know who was Brittany. Oh, I'm sorry, babe. Go look. I'm sorry, Jenna. No.
Okay.
I mixed up names. I apologize.
That's okay.
Come on.
That's okay. Brittany she usually does a lot of these events.
Hi, thank you for having me today. I'm super honored to be here with you guys. Thank you for sharing your story because your job as parents of a child with special needs is hard. It is so hard, and it is okay to ask for help. I'm Jenna Conklin. I work with Paladin. I have been in the field working with children and adults with disabilities for 17 years. I started as a caretaker when I was in college, and I have worked my way up to now I'm the director of therapy services. And so I oversee all of our behavior management services. And today I wanted to make sure that everyone kind of understood what the waiver was when we talk about the waiver. Is anyone unsure what the Medicaid waiver is? And it's okay to raise your hand, there's no dumb question. Okay, good. So I'm going to talk about some of that today, how to apply. If you already have the service, we can talk about what services Paladin offers. Everyone know the Bureau of Developmental Disability Services, the BEADS office? So there's two waivers that you can apply for if your child has a disability, and there's the Family Supports Waiver and there's the Community Integration Rehabilitation Waiver. And typically, a child, you'll get the Family Supports Waiver. And what that allows you to do is to choose from an array of sources that can help you in and outside of your home. You can have staff come to your home and provide you some respite services, so you can maybe take a nap, clean the house, or go grocery shopping. We have staff that can teach them different skills, our participant activities of care, and they would come in and teach maybe how to bathe, or how to do laundry, or how to do different chores around the house. Then we have behavior management, which don't let the word behavior scare you. We call it behavior management, but behavior is what? It's a form of communication. So we teach them everything, how to be socially appropriate. So your child may not necessarily be hitting and kicking and spitting. They might just be really shy and not able to express themselves or not able to communicate at all. And so what behavior management services do is we come to you, or you can come to us. It's a home and community-based service. And we help them in any way that you need help with, therapeutically. We also have residential services. So once your kiddo turns 18, they would be able to live like the rest of us live in the community, not in an institution or anything, but they would have staff that come to their apartment. So maybe you want to launch them into their own world, but they're not ready to be alone yet. They would have staff come to them and help them make sure they take their medications, make sure that they take a shower, every day, every other day, make sure they're eating, make sure they're paying their bills and things like that. Paladin offers those services as well. And then we have the day program. Some of our adults call it school because it can be very similar to school. Some of it call it, the hangout, the activity center. It's very similar to a classroom and if you think of a senior activity center. So it's day programming. They come to our centers. Paladin in Lake County, our centers are in Hobart and Highland. And there's classrooms for each ability, and we categorize them based on their ability, their cognitive level, and age, so they can be with their peers. And it's all socialization activities. We have wood shop, we have art class, computer class. They do, oh my gosh, what else do they do? Music, yes, thank you. Music. They do art. They have an advocacy club. And so it's kind of like that next step after high school, right? So what are they going to do? And so they can come to the day program and learn skills that you do need to have a job, if they do want a job, which is staying around people, learning those daily living skills, and learning how to budget money, things like that. If they want to get a job, awesome. We help them through the process of voc rehab, vocational rehab, which helps them obtain a job, has someone with them when they apply for the job and get the job, there's a staff person with them that kind of helps them get through that hump of the first few days, weeks, years. We have a couple of individuals who's had a job coach for nine years now. And the staff just come in and check in and make sure that they're understanding each step of the process so they don't get terminated for just a simple little error, you know? And we offer those services. And then also we have transportation, non-emergency medical transportation. So if you have Medicaid and you need to go to a doctor's appointment and you don't have transportation, we also offer the transportation services also. And so for our Hobart and Highland Center, sorry, jumping back a little bit, for the day program, we do have transportation services for that as well, to get you to and from the day program, because transportation is rough, and I know I'm not a big fan of driving on 94 all the time to get places, so we offer that as well. Today, when you come and speak, I'll be at a table over there with Brianna, who is also a behavior clinician with Paladin. And if anyone has specific questions that you may not want to ask in front of people, because it's okay if you're shy, I get it. You can come talk to me personally. I can help you sign up for the waiver. I can answer any questions that you have. I have a whole packet of stuff that it's so confusing. When I first started in this field, I was just like, how am I supposed to navigate this? How am I supposed to help these families understand what all these acronyms are and all these papers that you need? Because there's so much, and you don't have to do it alone. You do not have to do it alone. Paladin, we're a nonprofit, and we will come here. We can set up a time to come here and help you through it. You can call me anytime, and if I'm not there, someone will answer your questions, because it's tough. So don't get nervous. Don't get scared. Don't run away from it, because the services just fake you. I'm like, where are my words this morning? Do not get discouraged, because it is a tough process. Once you're in, you're in. And you don't have to pay for anything. You don't have to pay for anything. You can choose the services, and the beauty of it is I'm not the only provider. There are so many providers in Northwest Indiana. Tradewinds is one, Opportunity Enterprises is another. And if you're not happy with one, you get to choose another. You're not stuck with just one provider. So I just want to be able to answer questions that you might have. Have I piqued any questions so far just by sharing what I shared? Yes.
As it relates to the waiver, my daughter knows, but I've tried to introduce a lot of other people to it, and it seems like there's such a long waiting list. So is it better to go through someone like your agency to kind of guide them through so they can move through the process?
So yes and no would answer that question. So her question was, if by coming to us, would it get you through the process faster? It wouldn't move you through the process faster necessarily, but I would be able to, or anyone from Paladin would be able to give you everything you need all in one meeting, instead of, fill out this paper and then we'll get back to you. And then a couple months later, you fill out another paper and then they get back to you. I'm gonna have you fill everything they need so you can get on that wait list right away. And so it's, right now they have moved the terminology to the BEADS Gateway. And now they actually have an online dashboard, so you can watch your name move up on that list, or your child's name move up on that list, which I think is awesome, because you call the FSSA office sometimes, and sometimes you get through and sometimes you don't, and so now you can just log in online and you can see right where you're at. It is about a 2-year wait list. So if you know that you're going to want services later on, or at any point in your child's life, still sign up for it now. You don't have to utilize it, but sign up for it, because it is about a 2-year wait list as we stand now. And all you have to do is call into the case manager once a year and let them know that you still want it. And so when you're ready for it, the money's there for you to use. The state will provide you with that funding to utilize the services as you wish. Great question. Yes?
When we started, my daughter's 18, but when we started, I don't know who we were going through, I don't even know how we met, but they would supply the beds that we had, and so now when I call what it used to be Northwest Indiana Community Action, and now it's CARE Co-action. And now when I called them, she needed a new van. And they were like, well, that's not what we do. So I'm trying to remember who, and then we had someone to fix our van. And so I thought it was them, but they're saying that's not what they do. So where do you go for the rehab to your home and all of these other things that are available?
That's a really good question. Does anyone else have a resource for that? I'm not sure. The BEAD waiver, so the Medicaid waiver would cover, you can pull part of that funding for items that you need in the home, such as, like sensory items. Some kids, like the latest one was a crash pad. You know what a crash pad is? Like it's a big pillow, like they just jump on whenever they really just need it. The waiver paid for that. The waiver can help pay for if they need like an extra wheelchair. Maybe they just got a wheelchair and something happened or it's not working. Medicaid isn't going to pay for another one, but your Medicaid waiver, you could pull the funding from that. I personally don't know for sure, like for ramps and stuff. Are you talking about for home modifications?
For the home, for their house.
I honestly don't know 100%, so I don't want to give any wrong information, but I do know anything involved in
I was gonna say, it did used to be Northwest Indiana Community Action. They should have pointed you in the direction of the proper persons, the proper organizations that work to do that, because that was part of their.
It was, that's what I thought.
Yes, and now if you're talking about durable medical equipment, then there are other agencies that do that insurance will pay for. However, when it comes to the home repair, the purchasing of vehicles and things like that, that was traditionally done through that Medicaid waiver through Northwest Indiana Community Action. And even though they didn't do it, they had your caseworker would work you through the process in order to get those modifications or renovations done. So everything is changing, and let's just be honest, under this current administration, we don't know how things are going to continue to change. But number one, you have to be aware of what's going on and understand what questions to ask. And so not only I will go back to my co-action caseworker and talk to them because they should have that information. And they should have a list of the preferred, because they have lists of preferred vendors, whether it's for nursing, so in-home health care, whether it's for rehab or those types of things that they work with, who they have vetted, and that they have a process that they can pay them to do the work, so.
And that's one of the reasons why we decided, like I said, it was placed on my heart to do this, because a lot of times it's not as though we're not intelligent, it's just that we don't know what questions to ask. And so you cannot ask or give direction if you don't know what direction to go in. And so you're just kind of out there. And so no longer did I want, especially while I'm under my particular watch, I wanted parents to know that we're here. And they know specifically, because my parents have got me, am I right? Because we call, we contact, we keep in touch. Why? Because we need to, just like you said, the crash pad, it's almost like a crash pad, where you can have a place where you can relax, you feel comfortable. This is a safe place. This is a place where I can, feel whatever I feel. If I'm feeling sad, if I'm feeling blue, if I'm feeling mad, if I'm feeling agitated, whatever it is, then this should be a safe place, meaning the teacher should be able to be receptive to whatever that looks like. And so I wanted to be able to have us to come together, just like some of the things that she said. I didn't know, I'm not from Indiana. And so I didn't know at first. I had to start doing some leg work, but also doing some connecting, some collaborating. Just like when I thought of having this, then I collaborated with parent liaison to deal with parents. And so with that being said, and then reached out to agencies and said, hey, can we get together? Can we do this? My new parent, I have a new parent on board. Ms. Davis is my old parent. And I say that in fun,
I'm only 25.
they're one of my other old people. And so, get down here. But I love it because I want them to always feel like that there's a place for them to come because it's important. And so with our new parent and grandparent being on board with us, then they too get an opportunity to see, because I was calling and calling so that they could feel comfortable, because how many know, just even without having a child with exceptional, diverse abilities, it's just scary. You know, entering into a new system, entering into a new state, whatever that looks like, it is scary. And so I wanted them to know, you don't have to be afraid. It's here. I'm gonna call you. You probably will get tired of me calling you, but I'm definitely gonna call. Carlisius, Mr. Walton, they know I call and text him. And the other thing, so we just want to continue to build relationships, because relationships are bridges, and relationships fill gaps. And so where there's a major gap, relationships fill those gaps with whatever's needed. So that's what we're doing, and I love Allen. When I went there last year, we had a tour. I was blown away. I said, wow, this is literally a transitional place from school into life at the West Side. And so that's my thing. And so one of my other parents that's here, Ms. Vasquez, so I thought about Jaylon for Calvin, because he loves being active. He loves engaging. And when I went, I was taking mental as well as physical notes, and I noticed just how much they were thriving then. And some of the things mimic what we do in my classroom. And so we're just excited. So the folders are for you all to write stuff down, not to just put them away, but write things down, write some notes, whatever it is. We're here. We're going to continue. And I'll give it right back over to you. I know you have some things you have to do. What is it, a raffle or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
You may, and you can come to the facilities at any time. Just give us a
She
call.
has a,
Yeah.
Where are you located?
So our Hobart Center is 2395 Old Bridge Road. And our Highland Center is 9600 Kennedy Ave, Highland. And we have Hobart County Services too. But those would be the closest. Yep, in the white folder. And so in, like I said, all those papers that the dean's office is gonna ask you for is already in here. And if you have questions about them, I can answer them one-on-one, I can go through now, whatever you prefer, because it is a lot.
We will have a meeting every day.
Cool.
yes, yeah, we get more one afterwards.
Thank you. Anyway.
And like she was talking about, Bold Rehab, they're really good at, and they were not able to make it, so I'm just gonna just kind of surmise. They offer, she touched on something. Okay.
You've been talking.
So Bold Rehab, they offer services as well, but they also do assessments for job employment. And I'm just a strong believer that my students are employable. And so we're doing things to get them ready for life at the West Side, to help them to be able to be a part and grafted into society, not just as special needs adults or students or young adults with diversities, but real live community citizens that are a part of a thriving community.
Amen.
We're not looking at their disability, we're looking at their ability. We're not dissing what they can't do. Come on now, right? But we are encouraging and we're building upon what they can do. And we, whatever that support looks like, whether it's Ms. Mead, whether it's the principal, whether it's the parent in the classroom, whether it's the parents, whether it's the jack, we're the cushion. Come on now.
Yes.
We are the arms for them. We're the legs for them. We help them walk and get to the mark that's ahead of them. And watch this, we let them know that it's obtainable. Come on now, I like that. We let them know it's obtainable. And I was talking to a parent last year, and I think I was going through evaluation, and I was talking, we had a team meet, and I said, well, in my room, I look at increments of progress. So you might look at strides of progress. But for me, I have to build on increments of progress. And then we can get to a stride, just like with a baby. We don't expect them to walk first. We just need them to move. And where there's movement, there's life, and we build upon that part of their life. And so your baby and her baby have similar disabilities, but they're still unique in their own ability. And so I remember someone was saying, well, her daughter particularly, and a lot of times we don't use names because we keep their identities safe and sacred as well as private. And they were not thinking that she could move her head around. Well, I took a video because, pictures and videos, they do. They open up another discussion. And so when she sees me, she gets excited. And although she may not be nonverbal, how many know, just like with them, they may not are verbal, but we're signing, right? And so there's a way that we can communicate with our body language. And so we help to build upon what they have so that they too can thrive wherever they are. And we don't look down on it. Watch this, we build it up. And let them know. And so then what happens? They begin to feel good about themselves. And so wherever they are, there's confidence that begins to roll out of them. And we see the confidence and not in their eyes. We see the twinkle. We see the movement. We see them conversing. And whatever that conversation looks like, that's what we notice. But it has to happen with us giving them encouragement. And one of the strategies that I choose to use, and I, of course, learned this, and then and by the way, I'm getting my master's in SPED, I could have got it in something else. But I wanted to get it in SPED because we need to be a voice for special education. And so it just works. But we have to put the work in for it to work.
Yes.
When I leave here, I go to Miss Judge Shannon's house. Sometimes I'm tired, but I have to take a break so that when that baby sees me, she gets what they saw. Uh-oh. So we do it, don't we? And we have fun. And so we have to make it where we're able to make education fun with diversities and whatever adaptation is necessary. So I've been on the floor. You probably will never see me dressed like this again. Because I have to get on the floor. I remember Portia didn't want to have her lessons at the table or at the desk. So I said, well, let's get on the floor. And we got on the floor. I don't care about getting on the floor. I came for floor. I came to get on the floor. I came to meet them where they are. Because we have to know that that's what our expectation is, for them to go somewhere. And they can't get there if we are apprehensive about the floor. Now, we have comfort on our floor, and I wear jeans. But you understand what I'm saying. So I try to make things not so, we want to make it fun and engaging, even for the parents. But we want them to know we show up for them as well. Am I right? Especially my parents. And then we have, yes,
I want to.
No, go ahead.
First of all, I just want to commend the Gary school system because my grandson
used to be nonverbal, and now, and I know y'all know him.
Of course.
He's out everywhere, and now he communicates and all of that. So I don't care what they say about the Garrett school system. They have really helped.
Yeah.
My question is, my grandson's parents, his insurance is through them. What happens when he turns 18? What would happen when he get?
Save that question, because I believe we have someone.
Oh, okay.
I signed my child up for MSH when Jalen turned 18 and he got accepted in everything.
Okay,
So
that's
they
good.
list that.
Write that question
Write that
down,
down.
because we have other parents that wanna know the same
Sure.
thing, please do.
Right.
And we may have some information coming up, in a minute, so.
Yes.
Yeah, we got some good questions.
So you want to start the raffle, or you want me to introduce?
Oh, I just want to let everybody know, I don't know who all just came in, everybody that's a parent, that of student, of, special population, special needs, get a red raffle ticket.
I did. I just showed up as
You
my
just showed up, okay.
child.
And did you sign the board as well?
Oh no, I was
Okay.
moving because I have to get here missing fees, you know what I'm saying?
No, that's no problem, I want to make sure, because we're gonna have a raffle afterward, we got some good stuff, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Lee, can I ask a question?
You sure can.
I don't know if it's in reference to you.
Okay.
Have you guys ever, since our kids do have to transition, and I'm already signed up through Paladin, I'm on a waiting list. Have you guys ever thought about getting together and it'll be like either building a building or having some kind of conjunction with Paladin so the kids can just automatically transfer from the Garrett school system? Because I'm building Paladin and it looks exactly like this.
Yeah.
And I was always wondering, like, why not just get in conjunction with Paladin and have multiple buildings so the kids can go just right from the school when they age out and go right into Paladin. And you don't have to sit on a waiting list because I am 7,000. So is there any way that you can talk to Paladin? And, I've seen you in every, well, mostly Britain, that's right. But I've seen you guys in like every single meeting that I've been to, and I'm just trying to why not just get in conjunction with the school system so there'll just be a smooth transition? Because the issue that I'm having now is that there is a wait, a stop of services, and it always comes with so many other things and, and guardianship, and I'm trying to figure out what would be the best way to do a smooth transition so the kids don't have any stops in their services. Is that even a possibility?
Absolutely.
Yes.
If you don't mind me.
No, go ahead, please feel
One thing
free.
I should have started with, Paladin actually, we've gone through so many name changes. We used to be the Art Virginia. Art Bridges. And so some of our staff have been there for 30 plus years. I mean, they've been there forever. But the art started in a parent's basement. And it was 50 years ago, a little over 50. There were a couple of parents who had a couple of kids with special needs. They got together and they started a day program in their basement. And not telling you to open up your basement, but power in numbers, right? And so we are a nonprofit. And so funding it's hard, and it's a scary time right now, in our world of what's going to happen to specifically Medicaid funding, right? And so all of us getting together and rallying and fundraising and doing things like that, absolutely. I know that is, something that we really try hard to do, but it all comes down to
Yes.
the gap.
I'm grateful that it happens to me. So that's what you said it takes. Get a couple of people together and say, hey, we need this. I will work on trying to see how to make that happen. Because I just always wondered why is there such a disconnect between the schools and everyone else, and you just get one group of people who are already in the children and just keep them going. My kids don't do that. I'm Portia mom. If anybody knows I'm Portia's mom. We all know she doesn't do those feeding things. So that is a fear that I had of her trying to get her to the next level. I literally have a terrified fear what we're gonna do with her.
Yes.
And she also has 4 other siblings, and one of them has been in the school since 2018. He's on the list. So it's just a transition, it's draining, it's physically draining, and kids don't do that. So I was just hoping, if you say you get some people together, I can do that. I can do that. Talk to Ms. D.
Yes.
Having that conversation.
Yeah, we definitely will. And again, her, Miss Hill was one of the other parents that I had in mind, because Portia is a 13+ student. And so, as you can see, this we need, and it's necessary. So Judge, you had your hand up.
Yeah, and this is, because I know we're talking about a lot of serious things. But one of the things that I want the baby to experience is a normal and a blessed care. So, for instance, when she turned 16, she had a huge 16 party. And I look at a lot of her peers that are my family, they're all going to prom. And I was wondering if there's a way that, obviously we wouldn't want them with the main population, but if there's a way that we can have maybe a special prom for those children,
Yes.
that are in, those are the kind of things, because I want her to experience everything that, other, even as far as graduation, she's been mobile, she's not verbal, but I want, and maybe it's not her, but me as a parent, I want to see my baby do the same thing that other people's children are able to do. And so if there's a way that we can maybe communicate, talk, and figure out just how we can do these kinds of things, I would be most appreciative.
So Judge, we'll get together and we'll start something like that. Yeah, we definitely will, because again, when Ms. Hill said, how can we do that? And earlier I mentioned that it's about relationship, and so relationships bridge gaps. They just do. When you have a great relationship, it bridges the gaps and it helps you to navigate through the roads and the hills and the mountains, and it helps us to get on a playing field, so that people, just like now, that they can have discussions that we're having now. You had your hand up, Ms. Monk, please.
So kids, especially these kids, they don't go to work or prom with the work.
They do. What they're saying is, because Jessie, that's Jessie's mother, and so Jessie, and that's Jessie's grandfather, and so Jessie is very, very sociable. So he does not have any social deficit. So Jessie will definitely be at the prom.
Yes.
And so that's what they're saying. Those that cannot, because we have some students that wheelchair bound with more severe needs that are nonverbal. So that's what she was addressing. No, Jessie will be at the prom this year. He's been talking about the prom this year.
I don't think we can stop Jessie.
Oh, yeah, we won't. We've already had a discussion about what he's wearing, the car he's driving, everything, as well as his mom and I. All right, Mr. Watson. This is one of my other parents.
Everyone, I'm really happy that you've all shown up for this presentation. I've been here to support this, that's why I came, is to show my support as well. But what I really wanted was to see who else is here? Who else has these special needs kids like we do? Who else, you need to come and be at the board meetings, the school board meetings too, and start discussions with them about establishing something that's already there for the students who are already here, and to get involved with the special needs kids. And like, for example, the kids who have selective courses, like English and all those different things. But what other courses, like mechanics or cooking classes or different selective or elective classes? You know, you can ask them here and talk about it. Why can't they add students to those classes, to the special needs, so that they can get, you know, regular students involved and be with them in the classroom? You don't have to make our kids separate all the time. It doesn't have to be that way. We can allow them to be part of that community, and so they know too. So the other kids are aware of our kids, and they can see them in the world. And I think that can help a lot for the students to socialize, maybe become more motivated to help those kids. If they see other people, or our kids see that they can get help from their peers, we can start a better bridge, even just here in the school with the other kids and our kids. Yeah, so I'm a pretty vocal advocate anytime for any student, for any child, especially like, and it's not just disabled kids. I'm going to support all of you guys and your kids and these kids. That they have my support, and so it's not just mine. You guys too. I know you're behind your kids and you're behind mine, and that's what we need. No matter what, is we got to come to the board meetings together and tell them what we want. We need to advocate for our kids as a group, that special needs are here, and that, you know, after school, you know, they go like to the YMCA or Boys Brothers and Sisters. It's on like 15th Avenue. Go, you know, get involved. And I want to see all of you guys, all of the disabled community, that you can do this. It's not just like, we're not pushed to the side. We're not going to let our kids just be pushed off in the community. So there's just a lot of things, you know, many things that we need and that need to be caught up on, you know? And for example, like, she can't be the voice for all of us. She's just one person. And, you know, they're not going to listen to just one person. But if they see all of us together, our disabled parents, grandparents, you know, we have a common voice. Yes. And there is a lot more power in saying something when we're together. Yes. So that's what I want to say. Thank you.
So again, I must reiterate that this was necessary, right? It was needed, and me being new to the Gary School District and to Indiana, I just wanted to make sure I made a difference. So wherever we are, we need to leave footprints. You know, footprints of purpose, footprints of compassion, footprints of care, so that people will know that you were there. And so he is such an advocate. I just adore him because he really, really is. And from the moment we met, they some kind of way requested that their daughter be with me, and we didn't even know each other. They just heard a few little things, and it's been a pleasure. You know, I count it a pleasure and an honor to serve, because that's exactly what we're doing. We're serving. And so it's just a blessing. It really is. And so I'm glad that you guys came out. Some people thought, you know, they said, well, will they come? I said, you don't know me and my people. And so it's true. Because, again, this is a result of relationships. I mean, I talk to Ms. Muppet, at least once every other week. Jesse's father is here. Mm-hmm. He's here. Yeah. He talks about he loves his dad all the time. Carlicia's parents are here. Judge Shannon is representing her husband as well. Jaylon's mom and dad. So we're happy. Miss Hill, we talk often. Destiny's parents are here. So people care about their children. They care about their next steps. They care about who's who. You know, who's around them, what's going to happen. And so we have a couple more speakers, and then we'll go over into the meet and greet, the parents' room. That's where
we'll be able to, talk a little bit more, answer those direct questions that are not being answered right now. And so I want to take out the time to introduce Miss Alexis Nielsen.
Hello, everybody. I am so excited to be here. I am part of the community. And even just to come back to the school I graduated from, it is so exciting. So, my name is Alexis Nelson, and I am the founder of Be Exceptional Support Together. And what my organization does, we bring our beautiful minds in on our care model, which is called RAISE. We provide resources, advocacy. We make sure that our beautiful minds are integrated into the communities. We also make sure that we support them along the way and empower them. I always tell my families, this ability does not mean inability.
Yes.
And so I know the journey. This is not a sprint. This is a journey. And I have a child who is nonverbal and who is neurodivergent. And so I know the challenges. I remember, I said, when I first had my child, I worked in the field of social work for years. But it's different when it's your child, right? It's different. And so I had to learn a lot of things that I was not aware of. And it was a lot of barriers. And I said, oh no, not on my watch. So what I decided to do is develop this organization. Now, it wasn't my plan, but I had an adult that needed some service. And his caretaker passed. He didn't know what to do. So I said, okay, I'm going to help you. And what I do is I work with the young all the way to the old. And so what I did was connect him to the services. People told him where he needed to go. They were like, oh yeah, go to the Bees. Go to the Bees office, do this. But intellectually, he didn't understand that. He couldn't do that. So I said, I'm going to walk with you until you get everything you need. And so when we had to go fill out that application for Bees, the medical waiver, I was there. He said, I want to live on my own. I said, well, we're going to make it happen. And so I walked him through, get him a permit. And then he said, but I want to work. I said, okay. And so we walked him through getting him a job. And this really empowered him. He felt like, I can thrive. And this is what I want to offer to people. And I go into schools and I advocate for IEPs and 504 plans. Because some of my parents are overwhelmed. They get in there and sometimes they're like, my baby can't do nothing? Nothing? And I'm like, oh, no. They can do a lot. Again, disability doesn't mean inability. So I go in there and I'm the voice for the voiceless. I'm the advocate. They call me the mama bear because I go in and I'm coming out with solutions because I want to make sure that they get the services they need. I'm a parent. Sometimes it's overwhelming. As the young folks say, life be lifing. Okay? And I want to make sure that I make that transition easier for them. And I write books. I talk about it. Someone asked me, how do you teach someone who's nonverbal about their menstrual cycle? I said, well, the same way my mother taught me. She showed me, she walked with me, and she was able to get through it. She was able to understand it. Yes, we have ups and downs, but she was able to do something that everybody else said that she could. All because you're nonverbal does not mean that they don't understand. They understand real well. I learned the hard way because in the beginning, I was enabling her myself. I'm like, oh my God, she can't do it, she can't do it, she can't do it. And one day her room was a whole mess. I called it a mess.com. And I said, enough is enough. Clean up your room. She cleaned her room up. She lined the shoes up perfectly. And I said, I've been sitting here all this time thinking she can't understand me when she clearly did. She was like, well, you the one who thought, I know. And so I'm like, well, thank you. And from then on, everything I could, I said, okay, I'm a teacher sign. I got on these videos, learn and sign, so I can communicate with her. All behavior is communication. You cannot not communicate. And so this is something that I encourage parents, listen, I don't care what it looks like. I don't care what they say. Your child will thrive because you love them more than anybody. And you will advocate and you'll be there for them. And so that's what I encourage. I encourage people to understand, I know it. I know the journey. But all things are possible. All things are possible. All right, thank you. And if you have any more questions for me, I would love to speak with you. Yeah.
I have one, Ms. Alexis. Don't you have a walk coming up in honor of your organization that we all can participate in?
Oh, you.
You're welcome.
Yes, I absolutely do. On May 17th, I have a walk. It's called Don't Stare, Just Care. An exceptional ability walk. And so it will be May 17th. It's at 7:30 in the morning. It is at Hidden Lake Park. I will have vendors out there, and I will have the community out there, because this is what it's all about. It's about supporting them and letting them know that we are there for them and that they have resources. If I don't know a resource, I connect with other people. I like what Ms. B was saying about relationships. I tell people relationships is a currency. It will get you things money can't buy.
Okay, also, about the walk, is you have that flyer in your black folder.
Thank you, and thank you for the opportunity.
Oh my goodness, it's time again for that. You going on the walk? Yeah, yeah, so that's a part of what that's another aspect of building a relationship. That's another extension or another link to another relationship. So that when people see us doing something as small as walking, they don't understand that's monumental. Because we're doing some things just by walking. We're saying we possess this land, and we have made a decision that their disability does not mean that they're not able to do. They're more than capable. We did, just like she said, that was funny, because when I first got Jaylon, he was pointing to everything. And so because the majority of my students were nonverbal, they communicated to me like he couldn't speak. And I was like, okay, that's not a big deal. Okay. So I talked to his mother, she said, he talks to me. I said, if you talk to her, you're going to talk to me. And wasn't it last year, I advocated for him, and he was Student of the Month.
Yes, he was.
Yes. We haven't seen that on the wall. And so it takes relationship. It takes somebody opening up their mouth and being a voice for someone else that don't always know what words to articulate to get whatever that is needed. So we're going to continue this over after we hear from our very own Judge Shannon. She's one of my parents. She's known in the community, but she's a parent. And so because of that, she's made imprints. And so, yes, sir.
I have a question.
Okay.
Okay, if you're gonna be the voice for the kids, if a parent like myself had a very bad issue of the teacher telling my daughter that was going to pass her along and not give her the work that's really issue, because the teacher's telling my daughter that she doesn't really have to study at home, but it starts from home, it comes to the school. And they just passed my daughter along. She's in the 5th grade, but I mean, not 5th grade, but 11th grade, but at a reading level of reading and math at 5th. Now, you just gonna pass my daughter along. I've been had this issue with this teacher, but nothing's been done about it.
Okay, so as we mentioned on yesterday, when you were expressing that, that's for a different private conversation. so that your heart can be encouraged and so that we can get to the nuances of that particular situation. And so be encouraged, but we are definitely, remember I said we'll put you in contact with who you need to speak with so that we can visit that, and you and whomever can visit that so that there could be a resolve. Speak with her and then.
So you don't have to put him in contact with anybody. I'm the assistant director of curriculum and assessment for GCSE. So after this, we'll have a conversation between myself and Shavette, special population. We'll have a conversation.
Okay. All right. Give me your name again, because I didn't even know.
Jamila Adams. Jamila Adams.
Okay. Jamila.
Adams.
Yeah, I didn't know who you were. I just.
I'm not a doctor.
Thank you.
They want me to be doctor.
Yeah, I put it on there a couple times. My bad. I thought that's what them dots was.
So Doc. Okay. All right. Yeah, we are. So, did you have something right before Judge? Come on up, Judge. We're excited tonight. Yes.
Well, I wanted to start off just kind of giving my baby's story. When the young lady was giving her daughter's story, it touched my heart. I am the mother of Lydia Shannon. Lydia is now 18. We adopted her when she was newborn, so I went to the hospital, picked her up. We were able to, I'm an attorney, so we were able to get everything and push it through. But not push it through. We went through it. And so she was, I never knew that she was disabled. She just smiled. And I never had a baby before, so I was like, jackpot! She don't cry, she don't do anything. Well, Christmas Eve, 2006, she started screaming. And we run all the toys and everything, but she just started to scream. We ran to the emergency room, and when we get to the emergency room, my cousin is a pediatrician. She asked the doctor to do a head CT because this part of her head is swollen. But we just thought that was from the trauma of birth. However, the doctor, and this lets you know that a lot of people just don't have the compassion or just common sense. So he goes to the back, my husband and I are sitting in the waiting room, and he comes back and he says, "Oh my God, she doesn't have a brain. She doesn't have a brain." What you mean my baby ain't got no brain? You know, and he said, "It's just not there." So I'm like, oh my God. So we end up flying to the helicopter over to University of Chicago, which is where we spent the next 2 or 3 months. And it has been an uphill battle for me, because we had, in my family, there were probably about 7 kids born in 2006. And Lydia is the only disabled one. So I'm watching all of these kids grow, and that's why I talk about the prom, and they're doing all of these things. And I'm just like, I want my baby to go. And so my girlfriend, Chara, she said, she can have a sweet 16 party. And it was just beautiful. And it was like she thought she knew she was partying. But she was like, sitting behind the chair, just grinning, and everybody was, she just had a good time. And so it's been an uphill journey. But I'm so incredibly grateful because at some point, or the year before Miss Meade got here, there was a teacher, Carol Rick, and so she worked with us, and she was wonderful. And then after that, Miss Meade comes. And not only does she encourage my baby, but she's an encouragement for me, because I'm gonna just be real. This can be a heartbreak thing, because you're looking and you don't want to be jealous of other kids, but you know, you're still human. And so she has prayed with me. You know, I had some health issues. She was there for me. And then to see her react with Lydia, and Lydia react with her. She don't like you. She gonna close her eyes and turn her. She's not verbal, but you know she don't like you. And so she loves listening. And she's smiling. And she's just doing all kinds of things. And I look at her, and she's just such an encouragement. Because I look at Lydia, and so we're doing the wheels on the bus. Now, she ain't 18, but we're doing the wheels on the bus. So I say, okay, Lydia, it's your turn. And even though her brain is, you know, it's difficult, you could see her, like, lifting, trying her best to do it. And I'm just like, she's got this smile and all of this talent. And she's, you know, I mean, despite her disability, she's a happy child. Yes. And so for that, I just thank God. And for that, I've learned so much. And I've been encouraged so much by Miss Lee. Y'all just don't even know.
I know. Oh, I know.
But I'm here in my capacity, not necessarily as a judge, but as an attorney. Lydia turned 18 this year. So everything changes. Mm-hmm. So her pediatricians, you know, they're trying to push her to the adult side. Well, I'm like, you know, I'm not ready because her pediatricians know us. We go to Comer's ER and they know us, we get right in, all of this. And so now I'm like, oh my gosh, she's got to go to the adult. And it's, the adult at University of Chicago is just, it's difficult. But I'm looking at all of this. My chart, it used to be combined with mine. Well, now it's separate. So I have to get another number. I have to figure out how to go through that. There's just a whole lot that we have to go through. And so I'm here to kind of help you all make it through that to the extent that I can. The first thing we need, once that child turns 18, you guys need a guardianship. And the reason you need that guardianship is because you can no longer, even though, I mean, my baby looks like she's 10. Now, in fact, when we go to the all-inclusive, I say she's 10. But when they look at her passport, they see that she's 18. So they're telling me, well, you know, you gotta have this, you gotta have that. So the first step I had to do was set up a guardianship. Because this basically says that I'm her mother. Mm-hmm. And I have the ability to make those decisions for her. So that's what I wanna share with all of you first. And then the other thing I want to share, maybe you all know it, but my daughter was not eligible for Social Security. Right, but she is now. And so, but with everything going on, if you guys don't have it,
do it.
Do it.
Hurry up and do it. Yes.
There you go.
Fast.
So that's what I'm, I definitely, and all of those other things. Now, the last thing that I would like to share is, to the extent that you want your child to be able to flourish and do all of these things after you're gone, you may, or if you're not able, you may want to set up what we call a special needs trust. And that goes into a special account. And it's not, it can't be used for like regular caretaker, but for her to go on a vacation, for her to do all of these other things. These are things you can do, so you want to set that up so you can have your like life insurance go into that when you pass. And then now you have, because you got to think, all that we do, how much money is this going to be? You know what I'm saying? And I mean, so, and you can't expect anybody else to jump in and do what you do as mom and dad. So you really wanna get this money, if you have life insurance, whatever you have, so that when you pass, it goes to the trust, and then your child can have the lifestyle that they need. And this trust won't affect your social security or any of the things that you have for your child that through the state or the system. All right. Yes, ma'am.
For the guardianship, I have a lot of clients that are getting ready to turn 18 and the families don't have the funding to file for guardianship, to go through the legal system. Do you know of any resources that we could give to the families that need that guardianship but can't afford it?
Well, there's the legal aid, I think they may do it.
Okay.
There's probably, and then you can have a waiver, you know, depending on what your income is, where you would waive the court costs.
Okay.
And then, you know, some of it, if you go to the different clerk's offices, they can walk you through it. One of the things that, just because you said that, I'm thinking about is maybe just going and seeing if we could set up a class where, because it's simple. All you need is a statement from your doctor, and it's actually a form for them to just fill out. And then you just need to file a petition, you know, and it's a petition for guardianship of the person and the estate. And so you submit that in. But it's just a petition, you file it, and you get an oath of office, you take it, and bam, there you go.
You just go to your regular physician, because I've been trying for like 2 years and I'm not getting anywhere with any guardianship. I mean, is there any companies that help you with that? Because it seems like no one seems to.
So the physician, because it's a form you have.
I've asked my case manager. I have no forms, no nothing. They're just like, just go and call I think it's the general attorney's office, or call this person, call that person. No one is handing you a piece of paper. No one from the deeds office. When you ask them, they tell you they don't know. It seems like I've seen to run into people who have no clue what guardianship even is. They're like, call an attorney. And you're an attorney, so
it's just it's a whole packet.
Okay. You know where you can get some, and then I can give them to them.
Yeah, I can get you the whole form and packet and all of that, and I'll bring it. I'll give it to Ms. Reed so she can get it to everyone. Because it's just the doctor's statement. They just have to fill it out. Yeah. And then you attach that with your information, and then of course you know you have to have a separate account for your child to show this is their money, and you have to keep accounting of it. But yeah, we can get you all of that. That's not a big deal. Any other questions, concerns, issues?
Yeah, because my son used to be on disability when he was in Chicago when he first moved out here. But I still reside in Chicago. So, well, my husband lives out, but we was in transition to moving out here. But they was going off of my income. So when they cut his check down to $55, I said, I don't even have time for this. It's not worth it. And I think he might have been 8 years old now, but he's turning 18 this year. So I said, since I would go off nothing for my income and slowly be off of him, right, I'll put him back on disability after he turns 18, the day after he turns 18, because this stuff is expensive now. And
Get your appointment right now.
I didn't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know if I'm supposed to go down there and reapply. He doesn't get Medicaid, anything. He's off my insurance. Everything with me. He's on my job insurance, but he was still on that until he turned 26. So, I wasn't tripping on or nothing like that. But my daughter and my daddy brought it to me to say, no, go put him back on disability.
Yeah, because he should get the waiver, because with the waiver, it really didn't matter what my income was. So with the waiver, so whatever my insurance doesn't cover, then the waiver cuts in, because my baby takes 11 medicines a day. And so you talk about $110 well, no, because our copay is $20. So you talk about per month, and so the waiver covers all of that. And when I take it to the University of Chicago, I don't have to pay anything extra.
My son goes to the University of Chicago, Illinois. But he's on my insurance through Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Yeah, but he should have Medicaid as secondary.
It's secondary,
That's
right.
blowing my mind, because, okay, so for our daughter.
No, we didn't know. But I don't have,
didn't know.
I don't worry about his insurance enough because don't nothing come out of my pocket. My job covers it. My insurance
She just
covers
didn't know, and so that was
I didn't know.
And see, that's one of the ones that do need information and safety.
That's why I told her.
Because there's so many programs that are active. And
Like I didn't know what programs for them when, I was finna move them back to Chicago. We only came down here because Chicago was rough. And that's my baby, that's my baby. And I don't want nothing to happen to my baby, so Gary was like a suburb to us.
Right.
So we moving out here. We did the same thing with my two oldest daughters. They don't have, nothing's wrong with, they don't have a disability, anything. But we moved them out here in, what was the date, 2001? We came out here in 2001 with them. We moved back to the city in 2005 or 6. Then we came back in 2014 or 15, we came back for our son. And I didn't know, I just come, let him go to school. I still work in the city, my husband still works in the city, he's quiet. I don't know anything about out here, just that my baby loves it and he loves oh my God, and he loves everybody, so I keep him out here because this is his comfort zone.
Right, and we love Jessica too.
All right, girl. Okay, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Yes, so you, Miss Judge, as an attorney, so you protect for students with disabilities, and thank you so much for that information. The problem is, looking for an attorney for disabled, I don't like using the word special needs. I feel like that's offensive. Disabled, people with disabilities. Should I look on the phone book or Google, a specific attorney for disabilities? I don't see that anywhere. I see divorce lawyers, bankruptcy, and I want to look for an attorney that's specific for disabilities, and I don't see that. Do you have information for that?
Well, what I do is the general practice attorney can do guardianships and things like that. If you're looking for an attorney to assist in Social Security denials, then there are attorneys who do that. But generally a guardianship is a very quick and simple thing. So those type things, pretty much any attorney can do it. But as far as disability, like if you're talking about a civil rights violation or some of that where they don't have the handicap structure that they should, those you may want to check with, in the city of New York.
I'm looking for specifically a disability lawyer.
To do
that's their what? For people with disabilities, for their rights, to get an apartment.
Okay, that's a civil right. So you want to talk.
EEOC is such a slow process. And with the rental, I keep asking and I'm not getting any response. I'm like, I need a lawyer. EEOC is taking way too long. It's going through this long process. I would like for it to go a lot quicker because people with disabilities have needs,
I actually have a cousin, I don't know her information, but she's in a wheelchair and she's definitely an advocate. I can make sure Lydia gets her information and then she'll follow up with you. But as far as the civil rights of the system, I don't, system is the system. We'll take it.
Okay.
Thank you guys, as we are wrapping things up. One of the administrators on our district side that I had the pleasure of meeting a few weeks ago, oh my God, I didn't even know who she was. And we clicked right away. And she just so sweet, she complimented me, but I was complimenting her. And so we appreciate her even being here, because that's what we need to see too, not just teachers need to see them. You need to see me, but we need to see them. And so I thank God for my administrators. They do support me 100%. I can honestly say that. So without further ado, we want to welcome Ms. Witt before she goes on and go to a meeting. And then after she's done, we're going to reconvene over in the parent room for our meet and greet and light refreshments. Thank you guys so much.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. My name is Chelsea Whittington, and I am the Chief Public and Community Relations Officer for your Gary Community School Corporation. And I say yours because this district belongs to you, and your children belong to us. And we are thankful that for those of you, our parents, who have entrusted your special children, your babies. They're all special. So when I say special, it's all 44 plus 100 of our children in the district. I started off watching online, trying to get here, and I'm tearing up, hearing the lineup. I'm like, Judge's gonna be here, that's my buddy. Alexis is my buddy. And it's a lot of times you don't know what people are going through. I didn't know your story, Judge, and I've been knowing you forever. Lex, you and I have met in other circles, and then I saw you moving in this space. So I was like, we gotta promote what's going on. So your walk is coming up, and we want to support you. Please allow me to salute my colleague, Ms. Sunbright, for this amazing organization of this program today. What I see coming out of this is a support group, where you all kind of connect on a regular basis and not wait for us to just have a meeting, but a circle where we can communicate with one another, because that's what I love to do, communicate and promote things that are happening in this district. So there was an article out about this. We're broadcasting live to make sure those parents who are unable to attend have access. And you are 100% right about coming to the school board meetings. My friend over here, he comes, he shows up, and he has his interpreter so that we understand what his needs are. And it's been years. I was the director of PR for the Gary Schools 25 years ago before returning in 2019. Y'all don't look like it, right? And he was there then supporting his children back in the 90s. And so your commitment is to be saluted. We are keeping the camera this way to protect your privacy, but no, there are people online watching who have the same questions that you have and who have the same desires for their children. And I'm here to assure you, on behalf of our superintendent, Dr. Yvonne Stokes, and the entire leadership team, that we are committed to all children in the district. We call it special populations so that they can understand what special resources are available, but across the board, they are loved all the same. And I can't wait to see the young man in the prom. Who's going to the prom? Jesse's going to the prom, and I'm excited about that, and graduation and all the things that they will have the same experiences. I want to thank our speakers for today. Your resources, your knowledge, your passion is what drives us to do what we do for children every day. And the last thing I will say is there's a parent conference coming up on May 31st that I'm asking that you all please sign up for today. And for those who are watching and have not enrolled your child in the Gary Community School Corporation, we enroll 365 days a year, 366 on leap years, and it's an easy process. And we offer resources that many of the other educational institutions in this district just don't have the funding for, the wherewithal, And so that's why we are the district of choice. You know I was gonna say that. And so, because it's true. Again, my name is Chelsea Whittington. God bless each and every one of you and your beautiful, beautiful children. Thank you so much.